Last year, we saw players like Jackson Smith and Jigba and Chris Olave go off for really the first time in their career. So who's going to do it in 2026? I got some players that I think are going to explode for dynasty teams in 2026. Let's start with Drake London. It looked like this guy was going to explode in 2025, and then, of course, Michael Penix Jr. got hurt, and then he got hurt. But, man, this guy, it's there, right? Like, it's there. The explosion is there. It just, everything needs to come together. Why couldn't it be 2026? You look at it last year in the games he played with Michael Penix Jr., he was the wide receiver 2 in PPR scoring, only behind Jackson Smith and Jigba. He led all wide receivers in targets over those games, and he had the 4th most touchdowns in those games. Now the Falcons are moving from a defensive-minded head coach to an offensive-minded head coach with Kevin Stefanski. Now say whatever you want about his offenses in Cleveland, no, he hasn't had the best offenses, but he's had some terrible quarterbacks he's had to deal with. He's never had an elite wide receiver like a Drake London in any of his offenses. And what I love about the Falcons, especially for fantasy, for dynasty, is it's such a condensed target tree here. Drake London, clearly the number 1 target. Kyle Pitts, kind of the number 2. And then it's Bijan Robinson and everybody else just taking the leftover scraps here. So even though Stefanski will probably want to have a run-heavy offense, it's still going to be Drake London getting the bulk of the targets. As long as he and Michael Penix Jr. can stay healthy for all of 2026, this guy's ready to finally put together that monster season. And it's hard to forget, this guy is still not even 25 years old. He's still young. He's still entering his prime. This could absolutely be the year Drake London explodes for your dynasty team. And I said when Mike McDaniel was fired by the Miami Dolphins, whatever team he went to as the offensive coordinator, if that's what he chose to do rather than be a head coach, I would be all in on that offense. So I am all in on the Chargers offense. Give me Justin Herbert. Give me Omari Hampton. Give me Ladd McConkey. I guess begrudgingly, give me QJ if I can get him on the cheap basically here. But, I mean, come on. No offense has gotten a bigger boost than the Los Angeles Chargers. Yes, you can look at the Dolphins in 2025 and to a lesser extent 2024 and say, I mean, their offenses weren't that good. But I really think a big part of that was not just, Tua not playing as well, but just them trying to protect Tua after all the concussions and everything, not really being able to fully unleash the offense the way they wanted to. This Chargers offense has young, dynamic players. I already talked about them here. They don't have guys like Tyreek Hill slowing down at the end of their career. Again, Tua, a quarterback they had to kind of baby a little bit for injury concerns here. Let's not also forget last year, Justin Herbert, through weeks 1 through 8, was the QB5 in fantasy before Joe Alt, stud offensive lineman, got hurt in week 9. Don't forget, Rashawn Slater, the other stud offensive lineman, got hurt before the season. Both these guys will hopefully enter 2026 fully healthy. That's just going to help the offense so much here, going to help Justin Herbert so much here. Omari Hampton, Najee Harris is a free agent. Are they going to bring him back on another 1-year deal? Probably not. Am I worried about Kimani Vidal? Not really. I think Hampton's going to be a stud here, stud workhorse running back. And one thing you can definitely say about a Mike McDaniel offense, anybody from that Shanahan tree, the run game is money. It's going to be great for Hampton. And then, of course, you got to still like the wide receivers here. I mean, Ladd McConkey and, again, QJ. Keenan, again, was only on a 1-year deal. I really doubt they're going to bring Keenan Allen back. So we should see a more condensed target tree here, hopefully. But regardless, I am all in on the Chargers offense to explode in 2026 with new offensive coordinator Mike McDaniel. And hey, really quick before I get to the rest of the names on this list, you know what we need to explode? Our subscriber count, please. We don't even need it to explode. We're just trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. That's it. Just 1,000 subscribers. We're not that far off. If you are enjoying the content and you haven't subscribed yet, take a quick second, hit that subscribe button. We greatly appreciate it. All right, next up is going to be tight end Colston Loveland of the Chicago Bears. He didn't even really become a full-time player until week 16. But you look at it from week 16 on over the last 4 games, 10 or more targets in each of the last 4 games. He should fill that Sam Laporta role in this Ben Johnson offense. Now, the Bears do have a lot of mouths to feed here, right? You got DJ Moore, you got Rome Odunze, Luther Burden, Colston Loveland now. But we saw, even in those final 2 playoff games, with everybody healthy and out there, Colston Loveland was Caleb's number 1 guy. He had 25 targets, 3 red zone targets over those 2 games, but more importantly, his first read percentage was 6th among all players over those 2 games, and he led the Bears in first read percentage. So he was the guy Caleb was looking to first over all these other guys. Sure, there's going to be some volatility here because A, he's a tight end, and B, there's a lot of mouths to feed here, but I think Loveland is going to be the guy Caleb is going to look to the most. I think he's going to have a huge role in this offense in 2026, and I think he's absolutely ready to explode for dynasty teams. And I also think Harold Fannin is ready to explode for dynasty teams. This guy was a monster last year, and it's like nobody even noticed. This guy finished as a tight end 7, averaging 11.6 PPR points per game, playing in the Browns offense with, Dillon Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders at quarterback here. Now he gets Todd Monken, who loves to use the tight end. Look at Mark Andrews the last 2 years in that Todd Monken offense in Baltimore. 2 years ago, 11 touchdowns. Last year, okay, he only had 4 touchdowns, but he had 10 end zone targets. 10 end zone targets, not red zone, end zone targets. That was tied for third behind only Trey McBride and Brock Bowers. Harold Fannin is a guy already we know he's probably going to be the number 1 wide receiver in this offense, the number 1 target in this offense. Unless they do something crazy in free agency, he's probably going to be the number 1 guy. If we add in a bunch of touchdowns and end zone targets on top of that, that's how Harold Fannin could go from a very good tight end to an absolutely great tight end in Dynasty. I think he's absolutely ready to explode in 2026. And again, it's like no one even noticed how good this guy was because he's in this Browns offense. But he was an absolute stud as a rookie. I think he gets even better in year 2. Now a couple running backs. I've already talked about Breece Hall on the buy low video, but I'm going to talk about Breece Hall again because I think he could absolutely explode in 2026 and finally live up to the expectations he had as a prospect coming into the NFL draft. Again, this is really going to come down to free agency, like I said on the buy low video, but it's hard for me to see a path where Breece Hall returns to the Jets unless the Jets decide to franchise tag him. But do you really want to use a franchise tag on a running back when you have needs all up and down the roster here? Like, is that really how you want to use it? I mean, maybe it's the Jets. You never know what the Jets are going to do, but assuming he does leave in free agency and he goes somewhere really good, which not a lot of places worse than the Jets, let's be honest. This is going to be huge for his fantasy value. And despite being stuck in the Jets offense, he was still good last year. He was 3rd among qualified backs in explosive run percentage, 10th in success rate, 5th in missed tackles forced per attempt. Again, that's despite playing in an offense where teams didn't even have to worry about the pass at all. They could just load up the box to stop Breece Hall. If he goes to a situation like KC, I know a lot of people want to see him go to KC, where they can't just load the box and stop Breece Hall, and he's in a dynamic offense with Eric Bieniemy at OC and Andy Reid, he will absolutely explode in 2026. Of course, all of this could be moot after free agency if he does return to the Jets or he signs somewhere really bad. You never know what free agency is going to hold for these players. But I'm going to bet on him going somewhere really, really good in free agency and him exploding in 2026. Now, another running back that can see their value absolutely explode after free agency, but in the opposite way, is Kenneth Walker, because we want to see this guy remain a Seattle Seahawk in 2026, because we know Zach Charbonnet tore his ACL in the divisional round. Certainly not going to be ready to start the season, may not be ready at all during the season, and when he is ready, he's probably going to be very limited if he's even ready during the season. That means we could finally see Kenneth Walker, workhorse running back, for an entire season. We've seen it for 2 games so far. And yeah, this is why I was so high on Kenneth Walker in 2025. Over the last 2 games, the divisional round, the championship round, he's combined for 38 carries, 7 catches, 256 total yards, and 4 touchdowns. Now, when I was so high on Kenneth, if you watched our redraft channel, why I was so high on Kenneth Walker before the season is because I said, hey, he's going to be a workhorse running back in a Klint Kubiak offense. He was not the workhorse running back because Charbonnet was there an annoying amount, pretty much a 50-50 split. That is not going to be a worry for 2026. Now, there is worry that Klint Kubiak could take the Raiders job after the Super Bowl. We'll see here. But either way, as long as Mike Macdonald is the head coach, and Mike Macdonald is going to be the head coach in 2026, it's going to be a run-first offense. They're going to lean on Kenneth Walker. This is a type of guy I've always felt like he needs a bunch of touches because he's one of these guys like, he always has the potential to rip off that long run, that long reception. You want to give this guy the ball as much as you can. If he's the workhorse going into 2026, for this Seattle offense, he will absolutely explode. And then finally, yes, I am going to fall for the Ricky Pearsall trap again in 2026. This guy he's not one of these guys who's like struggled or, been bad or, is not a part of the offense. It's just health, right? This guy just can't stay on the field. But when he's been on the field, he's mostly been good. And when you look at his underlying peripherals, he's been really good. You look at it last year in the games he played, he was 9th among all wide receivers in separation score and 3rd in route win rate. This guy is a good route runner. He's a good receiver. It's why he was one of my favorite kind of like under the radar prospects when he came out of college. He just needs to stay healthy. And I know we put these labels on guys like, oh, he's always going to be hurt. He's always going to be injury prone. But let me point you to 2025 Christian Watson. When he returned from the ACL injury, he didn't miss a game, was great, was an absolute stud for fantasy. All Ricky Pearsall needs is to put it together and stay healthy. Just stay healthy, my guy. If you can do that, he's going to be great. And you look at the 49ers. We know Brandon Ayuk, he's not going to be there. George Kittle with that Achilles injury. I know he's talking like, he's way ahead of schedule and he's going to be, come on, it's an Achilles injury. Is he even going to be ready for week 1? Probably not. And when he comes back, is he just going to be full go George Kittle at 33 years old off an Achilles injury? Almost certainly not. This is going to be Juwan Jennings, Ricky Pearsall as the number 1, number 2 wide receivers, really like the 1A, 1B wide receivers here in a Kyle Shanahan offense with Brock Purdy. I don't care that Ricky Pearsall has disappointed the first 2 years. It's been disappointment because of injury, not because of performance. You got to take a chance on these guys because like we saw with Watson last year and other players who are always injury prone, if they don't get hurt and they put it together and they stay healthy, he's got a chance to have a great year. If it happens, he's going to explode in 2026. All right, there you go. Those are the players I think are ready to explode in Dynasty for 2026. But if you want your Dynasty team to explode in 2026, you got to stay tuned and watch all the videos we got for you dropping. If you missed any of them, don't worry. You can find them in our playlist right here.